Julius Caesar, the legendary Roman general and statesman, met a tragic end on March 15, 44 BC. Known for his military prowess and political acumen, Caesar had risen to unparalleled heights in Roman society. His conquests expanded the Roman Empire, and his reforms endeared him to the common people. Yet his ascent also sowed seeds of fear and jealousy among the elite. A group of senators, fearing Caesar's growing power and ambition, conspired to assassinate him. These men, who once stood by his side, now saw him as a tyrant in the making. They believed that his continued dominance would spell the end of the Republic and the beginning of a dictatorship. They believed Caesar was becoming too powerful, threatening the very foundation of the Roman Republic. The senators, many of whom were seasoned politicians and generals, felt that their own influence and the traditional balance of power were at risk. They feared that Caesar's rule would overshadow the Senate and reduce their roles to mere figureheads. The assassination sent shockwaves through Rome, leaving a void in leadership and plunging the city into chaos. The streets, once bustling with the activities of daily life, were now filled with uncertainty and fear. Citizens were left wondering what the future held for them and their beloved city. The conspirators, led by Marcus Junius Brutus and Gaius Cassius Longinus, believed they were acting in the best interests of Rome. Brutus, in particular, was torn between his loyalty to Caesar and his duty to the Republic. He was convinced that Caesar's death was necessary to restore the Republic's former glory. They saw Caesar's growing influence as a threat to the traditional balance of power. The Senate, which had once been the heart of Roman governance, was now overshadowed by Caesar's singular authority. The conspirators hoped that by removing him, they could revive the Senate's power and restore the Republic's democratic principles. The assassination, however, had the opposite effect, throwing Rome into turmoil. Instead of stabilizing the Republic, it led to a power vacuum and a series of civil wars. The very fabric of Roman society was torn apart as factions vied for control, each claiming to be the true saviors of Rome. The people, who had adored Caesar for his military triumphs and populist reforms, were outraged. They saw the assassination as a betrayal, not just of Caesar, but of the promises he had made to them. The streets of Rome echoed with cries of grief and anger as the citizens mourned the loss of their leader and the uncertain future that lay ahead. The assassination of Caesar sent shockwaves through Rome, unleashing a wave of fear and uncertainty. The once bustling city, known for its grandeur and order, was now plunged into chaos. People who had once walked the streets with confidence now found themselves looking over their shoulders, unsure of what the future held. The city, accustomed to Caesar's firm hand, was now rudderless. The marketplaces, usually filled with the sounds of commerce and chatter, were eerily silent. Roman soldiers patrolled the streets, their presence a stark reminder of the fragile peace that hung by a thread. Confusion reigned as news of the assassination spread, leaving the populace in a state of shock. Messengers darted through the city, spreading the grim news, while citizens gathered in small groups, their faces etched with worry and disbelief. The air was thick with rumors and speculation, each more terrifying than the last. The senators, expecting cheers and praise for their actions, were instead met with stunned silence. They had believed that removing Caesar would restore the Republic, but instead they found themselves facing a city on the brink of collapse. Their faces, once filled with resolve, now showed signs of doubt and fear. Fear gripped the city as rumors of uprisings and violence spread like wildfire. Whispers of rebellion and revenge filled the air, and the once united city now seemed divided and on edge. People barricaded themselves in their homes, afraid of what the night might bring. The conspirators, realizing they had misjudged the people's reaction, fled Rome, seeking refuge in the east. Their dreams of being hailed as liberators were shattered, and they now faced the reality of being hunted men. Their hurried departure was a testament to the gravity of their miscalculation. In the power vacuum left by Caesar's death, ambitious men saw an opportunity to seize control. The political landscape of Rome was now a battleground, with various factions vying for dominance. Heated discussions and secret meetings became the norm as alliances were forged and broken in the quest for power. Among them were Mark Antony, Caesar's close friend and ally, and Octavian, Caesar's great-nephew and adopted heir. Both men had their own visions for Rome's future, and their rivalry would shape the course of history. As they gathered their supporters and prepared for the inevitable clash, the fate of Rome hung in the balance. In the aftermath of Caesar's assassination, three figures emerged from the chaos, vying for control of Rome: Mark Antony, Marcus Aemilius Lepidus, and Gaius Octavius, later known as Octavian. Each possessed unique strengths and weaknesses. Antony, a seasoned general and charismatic leader, commanded the loyalty of many of Caesar's legions. Octavian, though young and inexperienced, possessed a shrewd mind and a powerful legacy as Caesar's heir. Lepidus, a powerful general and politician, controlled significant military forces. The stage was set for a power struggle that would determine the fate of Rome. These three men, each ambitious and cunning, would clash in a bid to fill the void left by Caesar. In 43 BC, recognizing the need for stability amidst the chaos that followed Julius Caesar's assassination and fearing the resurgence of their enemies, three of Rome's most powerful figures, Antony, Octavian, and Lepidus, formed the Second Triumvirate. This uneasy alliance, ratified by law, granted them absolute power for 5 years, a period during which they could rule without the usual checks and balances of the Roman Republic. Their primary objective was to hunt down and punish Caesar's assassins, who had plunged Rome into turmoil. They sought to restore order to the Republic, which had been destabilized by the power vacuum left in Caesar's wake. The triumvirate, however, was plagued by mistrust and ambition from the outset. Each member had his own vision for Rome's future and his own personal ambitions. Each man harbored aspirations for sole power, seeing the alliance as a temporary measure to achieve their own ends. Their alliance was one of convenience rather than genuine unity, a strategic move to consolidate power and eliminate common threats. The cracks in their fragile alliance were evident from the beginning, with frequent disputes and power struggles foreshadowing the conflicts to come. These early signs of discord hinted at the inevitable clashes that would arise as each leader vied for dominance. Despite their differences, they effectively eliminated their common enemies, including Brutus and Cassius, who had been instrumental in Caesar's assassination. In a series of bloody proscriptions and battles, they purged Rome of those who opposed them, solidifying their control but also sowing the seeds of future discord. The Battle of Philippi, fought in 42 BC, marked a turning point in the struggle for power. Antony and Octavian's forces clashed with the armies of Brutus and Cassius, Caesar's assassins. The battle was a decisive victory for the Second Triumvirate, solidifying their control over Rome and crushing the last vestiges of Republican resistance. Brutus and Cassius, defeated and despairing, took their own lives. The victory at Philippi cemented the Triumvirate's power, but also deepened the rivalry between Antony and Octavian. With their enemies vanquished, their ambition and mistrust grew, setting the stage for the next chapter in the struggle for control of Rome. Following Philippi, the Triumvirate divided control of Rome's territories. Antony headed east to consolidate their holdings and replenish their coffers, while Octavian focused on managing affairs in Italy. However, Antony's entanglement with Cleopatra, the Egyptian queen, proved to be a strategic blunder. Octavian skillfully exploited Antony's relationship with Cleopatra, portraying him as a traitor who had abandoned Roman values for the sake of a foreign queen. This propaganda war turned public opinion against Antony, paving the way for Octavian's eventual triumph. Octavian, meanwhile, skillfully consolidated his power, presenting himself as the defender of Roman tradition and virtue. The final showdown between Antony and Octavian occurred in 31 BC at the Battle of Actium, a naval engagement off the coast of Greece. Octavian's forces, led by the skilled general Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa, decisively defeated Antony and Cleopatra's fleet. The victory at Actium marked the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of the Roman Empire. Following his victory, Octavian returned to Rome, where he was hailed as a hero. He consolidated his power, taking on the title of Augustus, meaning revered or sacred. Augustus, a shrewd politician and strategist, ushered in a new era of peace and prosperity known as the Pax Romana. The assassination of Julius Caesar had far-reaching consequences for Rome. It led to a protracted period of civil war and instability, culminating in the rise of Augustus and the transformation of the Roman Republic into an empire. While the conspirators believed they were saving Rome from tyranny, their actions inadvertently led to the very autocracy they feared. Augustus's reign marked the beginning of a new era for Rome. He established a stable government, reformed the army, and oversaw a period of unprecedented peace and prosperity. The legacy of Caesar's assassination is a stark reminder of the unintended consequences of political violence and the enduring power of ambition.